powerful and just, you know,
Okay.
ready to go. That humble power. Chrissy Quinn, how are you? I guess it's morning
David,
for
I'm
you.
great.
Morning for you and nighttime for me. This is fantastic. So,
That's it.
yeah, we've met through Facebook. Obviously, I've never been to Australia. Have you ever been to the US?
No, not yet. Not yet.
Fantastic. We will make that happen, I'm sure. So tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and what you're currently doing.
About me. So pretty much about me. I'm 25 years old. I grew up in Sydney, so I've been born and bred. I love traveling. I've been in the coaching space for a little bit now, and yeah, I've been working in leadership for quite some time as well, working with a whole bunch of people. I guess it depends. What is it like? What parts of me do you want? I could talk about many different things. So what are you mainly after, David?
Why don't we start with football? We'll start with that.
Football.
Yeah, the important stuff.
Now let's get clear. Football for you, is that rugby or is football for you soccer? Because that's a big
soccer. Come on now. I'm just trying to use your language, you know.
Soccer. Oh, soccer's great. Soccer's great.
Well, it's funny. The first time that I actually reached out to you was when I saw that you put a post up where you were playing futsal.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, best game in the world right there, playing that futsal.
Yeah, it's a beautiful sport. Beautiful sport, that's for sure.
So how did you move into the coaching space?
Into the coaching space, well, I've been working in like development for quite some time. So I've been working in leadership positions, and then it kind of just came, like I kind of just came across it one day and realized that I always wanted to help people. It wasn't really in all sincerity until I had gone to one of Tony Robbins' Unleash the Power Within. And that was like, whoa, there's a whole new world out there as he opens doors for many people. And then it was, when I got introduced to it there that I was like, okay, like I've already got experience with helping people to move forward. So let's do it from, let's title it coaching. And that's where it all started.
Nice. So tell me about that. You said that you've helped several people move ahead, and I kind of clarify what they want. Let's talk about what do you go through, or what kind of questions do you ask people to draw out of them the clarity of purpose?
I think it's truly about like understanding the individual. So like when you say to someone, all right, what is it that you want? People always go, oh, I just want to be happy. You go, okay, well, what does that actually look like? Where are you going to get happiness from? And I think a lot of people put limitations on themselves. So I like to kind of remove limitations and say, if you were to be able to get given anything that you want, what would you actually ask for? And what would you try to work towards? And then if they were to remove all limitation and make it a reality, then it's like, okay, let's break it down from there. And let's identify what it is that you actually want. So breaking down into different sections of life. So what do you want in your personal life, in your physical and health? What do you want in your, how much money do you want? What do you want to do in your career or in your working life? What type of relationship do you want? And breaking it down, because a lot of the time people say, oh, I want this, but then they think, for example, if I've got work in a really good sense, maybe that's going to affect my relationship. But it's about breaking it down of, okay, if we were to break your life down into different sections, what do you want in each one? And then working through and identifying what's most important.
What have you found to be the most difficult for people when they're breaking this down and they're trying to separate their life into different segments? What seems to be the most difficult part for most people when breaking down their life and trying to figure out what they want?
The most difficult thing, I would probably more so say the limitations that we put in ourselves of saying it's not possible. I've always been told that I can't have that, so it's not possible. But being able to break that down into, okay, well, let's talk more about that and let's understand why you think that way and understand where those thoughts come from. That's what I would say.
Because with emerging leaders, a lot of times they get in this space, they're brand new, they don't really have the confidence to move forward because they don't know enough about themselves to do it. And then their communication skills are subpar at best in a lot of cases. So what kind of advice do you give to somebody like that's in a situation where they're not really sure if they can do it, they're not really sure that they can move forward and do more, and their communication skills aren't quite there to take them to the next level? what kind of advice do you give them, or what, what would you tell them?
All right. So if it's a case like that, it's more so about, okay, we've all learned a number of things in our life, right? So just because you don't have the skills now doesn't mean that you can't have the skills tomorrow or next week or next month. So if you need to work on something, let's break down what it is that you need to improve on, and let's get started with it. We all walk around now. It's easy and seamless for us to walk around, but I tell you, 20 years ago or 40 years ago, however old the person is, it wasn't so easy until you actually started to take action. So let's figure out what it is, where's the missing piece of the puzzle, and let's put the puzzle down and let's start working on it. Because we might have this goal and this dream and this wish, but you got to break that down and make it realistic. Because people, it's funny that, when something seems so big and complex, rather than doing something small to work towards it, you just think, far out, I'm not going to do anything. Rather than, okay, let's break it down and let's make this achievable. Let's go for it.
Fantastic. So when it comes to developing communication skills, right, for these for emerging leaders or anybody for that matter, what would you say is probably one of the most important things to you when it comes to communication?
Communication, I don't know if, like, in Australia, it's funny that a lot of people tell you what they're not rather than what they are. So for example, right, so I want to say, oh, how are you? And you might say, oh, I'm not bad. Or they might say, hey, how much did that cost? And you might say, oh, not too much. But rather, and that's funny because that's always a joke where we talk about Aussies always saying what we don't want. I think for communication, you got to start talking about what do you want. You got to start talking about the things where it is that you want to go. Communication, look, there could be a number of different things, but if I was to point it down to one thing for communication, it's let's start talking about what you do want or where you do want to go, and start talking about how we are going to get there and break it down from there.
Cool. So,
does that answer your question, or have I rambled?
No, of course. There's no right or wrong answer here. There is
That's it.
Water, and there's
that's it.
And there's alcohol. Right now we're drinking water. At least I think.
That's it. Right now is the water. We'll save the alcohol for later.
So when it comes to communication and leadership, right? And how much would you say confidence plays into our ability to effectively communicate?
Oh, massively. If you were to have a conversation with somebody and they're sitting there slouched down and talking in a non-confident way, it's like they're deflated. But if you've got someone who, their shoulders are back, they're confident, they know what it is that they're talking about, 100% you're going to get a completely different picture than someone who's not confident. If you aren't feeling fully connected with what it is that you're talking about, 100% people aren't going to be convinced. So you need to have that level of certainty and confidence about what's the message that you're portraying, what is it that you're trying to share with people. Because if you don't believe it, why the hell is anybody else going to believe it?
Right. Amen to that. So what techniques or hacks do you have that you could share with emerging leaders to develop that confidence? What can they do to develop the confidence so that when they do communicate, they come off strong and powerful and just, ready to go, that humble power?
So if we're to talk about building confidence, one thing that I love is, I don't know, are you a big fan of affirmations and incantations? Because I love that stuff. Yes. And that's built in deeply within my daily rituals, is to listen to affirmations and to do incantations to build up that confidence, to build up that certainty. So for me, for example, it's me jumping on my bouncer for 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes and yelling out my incantations of things, qualities that I already possess or qualities that I want to be able to get more of, and I want to build up on that. So it might be me seriously yelling down my house at 6 o'clock in the morning, hoping that my neighbors aren't going to complain, which they haven't so far. So it's a good sign, right?
Right.
Of building up that confidence and that certainty. The other thing that I'd say is getting practicing something over and over again until you are a master of it. Because if you know about the ins and the outs of a particular topic and you understand it left, right, center, forwards, backwards, of course you're going to be able to share that with a level of confidence because you know it so well. You could do it in your sleep.
Right. Muscle
100%,
memory.
I'd say practice, and then those incantations and affirmations, mate. I love them.
So talk about that, because you've created your own incantations. You created your own. Now, some of our listeners may not even know what an incantation is by the time they watch the video, right? So that being the case, what is an incantation and how does it work? And why are you on the bouncer doing that versus just doing it from laying in your bed?
Okay. So, all right. So if we were to break down an incantation, so let's just start with an affirmation. So if we were to talk about, let's say, building in confidence, to say, I am confident. If anyone here is watching this, and it could be anything that you want. So if you're saying, I'm confident, I am a money magnet, I'm certain, whatever it is that you're wanting to do, right? So if we talk about confidence, saying I am confident. Now, I could sit here, slouch my shoulders down and say, yeah, I'm confident, I'm confident, I'm confident. Or I could get on my bouncer, which is a mini trampoline, put my shoulders back and jump up and down and yell, I am confident, and embody that feeling and feel that level of confidence. And the jumping up and down is just more so about me embracing it, me embodying it, and actually me yelling it out and believing it and feeling it. And if you're doing, like, when I do that, I look in the mirror and like, it's like I've got these crazy gladiator eyes staring at myself. Like, you know, it's funny, it's powerful, but it's really just truly about embodying that. So the reason I say is you're moving your body around is because you're actually embodying it. As your blood's flowing, you're embodying that feeling. And after the first minute, you're exhausted, but you do that, let's say 5 minutes a day, 365 days in a year. How many hours of that, you know, that you just believe it? And it's funny, like different incantations that I've even created myself that I like to do. I just find myself a lot more confident in believing things and saying things without realizing it. It's powerful. So powerful.
It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. You know, when I'm in CrossFit and I'm running around, right? I mean, you're either running or you're on that damn roller, whatever it happens to be. And again, I'm shooting that stuff out. It's going through my mind, and I'm not as loud as I could be, but I don't want to be that loud with everybody that's working out with me. You know what I'm saying? But it goes a long way because you're just repeating it over and over and over and over again in your mind, and you feel it. And man, you're pulling harder. You're just doing more, right? So it just totally envelops the entire body. And I guess the reason we move is because we internalize it, right? Man, when we're going after it and you've got that confidence, your shoulders are back and you're standing like freaking Wonder Woman or Superman, you feel it. Oh my God, feel it, right? So it's changing the physiology, because we can control our physiology, then we can control our focus, and we control the words. Man, we control those three things. We own it. Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
Now, some of these folks are going, yeah, but my wife, she's not going to want to hear that, right? Or my husband, man, I don't think I want to say that in front of him. What do you say? What do you say to those people
that are
really about that?
Look, when it comes to, it's funny, when it comes to your own partner or someone at home that would, you know, get bothered by it, the way I look at it is, all right, well, would your partner prefer to have a partner that's confident or a partner that's flimsy as? Like, come on, I know personally confidence is attractive. I love seeing my partner confident, or just people in general confident. If it's to come to, I don't know, let's say going for a run, right? And yelling out, you know, your I ams, I'm confident, I'm this, I'm that. I heard something that was pretty profound, and they say that there's 3 different people, right? The first person is someone who looks at you and they judge you and think, what the hell are they doing? But them judging you is just a reflection on them. So if they're judging you, there's something that may not be going on so well within them. So that's, you know, that's a reflection of them that they would need to deal with. The second person that you might go past, they might be so fixated on whatever it is that they're doing in their life that they don't even notice you. Or the third person that might see what you're doing, they're going to look at you and think, oh my God, that's inspiring. I want to be like that. I want to have that level of confidence. I want to be able to run around the place and say, I'm confident and I'm certain and, you know, I love my life.
There's a fourth person, Christy. There's a fourth person. That's the one that calls the cops and says, hey, some schizo just escaped, right?
They're just as bad as the first person.
Right. But you know, when I first heard about incantations, now affirmations I've heard about forever, right?
Yeah, of course.
And then you start looking at incantations, and I first heard Tony going through his incantations, right?
Yep.
And I'm like, I could steal that. Well, yeah, but I really need to make it my own, right?
Yep.
But when I stole the first one, and you're probably familiar with this one that he uses all the time, God's love circulates in my life. This is what flows to me in
avalanches of abundance.
My goals, these are met instantaneously through infinite intelligence. I give thanks for all my good now, for all of God's riches, for I am one with God, and God is everything.
God is everything.
Over and over and over,
Yeah.
and over and over again, right?
Yeah.
So cool. And it's
so good.
Because we think that we're alone in this game, right? We think that we're alone in this progress that we're all trying to make and get to. But people have learned techniques that work. They flat work if we use them, if we work them. And I heard him say once that if you're not doing this at a minimum 10 minutes a day, you do not understand what I am teaching you, right? At a minimum 10 minutes a day, or you just flat understand it. You don't get it, right?
Yep.
So what do you do, for instance, before you got on this call, what did you do to prepare your physiology to jump on this call?
All right. So prior to this, I was standing in front of the mirror doing my yelling. So I came up with one incantation that it goes, I now command my subconscious and conscious mind to speak the truth with conviction and with passion, to say whatever first comes to mind with courage and certainty, for whatever I say must be said today. And I do that before I jump on any coaching call with my clients. And I also do that before I have any important meeting, whether it's at work, whether it's in my coaching business, whatever it is, or even if it's, I don't know, let's say a family call where I want to be able to express certain things, you know, from a loving place of, you know, being a daughter or sister or whatever. For me, it's just really about, okay, I'm commanding my subconscious and conscious mind to say what needs to be said in the way that it needs to be said. So for me, that was like me getting into that state. I had an accountability coaching call about an hour ago or so I was already pumped up from that. And just, you know, putting on motivational, you know, videos and songs that kind of get me going. So that's what I do. And that's what I did prior to this. Listening to Latino music, that shit sets my heart on fire. Like, it excites me like nothing else. And it gets me going. So if I ever need to get pumped up for something, it's listening to Latino music to feel my heart pounding and then going on with these incantations and these affirmations. It's beautiful.
That's fantastic. Where do you get Latin music out there in Australia? Come on now, what are you talking about?
What was that?
You don't have no Latin music in Australia. Where are you finding that stuff?
YouTube's the way to go. No, we do sometimes now. There's a few songs, but there's not too many. There's not enough. There needs to be more on the radio, that's for sure.
That's funny. I would play some for you, but they're lost in my playlist somewhere.
Come on, David.
Nah, we got them. We got them. Yeah, we got a lot of them. Actually, I have quite a bit of Latin music on my phone. Yeah,
it's so good.
But I've got the music.
Oh yes.
So with these incantations, and again, the reason we bring this up, and that I love talking about this aspect of personal growth, is that emerging leaders, before they go to work, before they have any type of really important conversation with somebody, before they meet with their boss, any of those types of things, if they are in a state of weakness and they are in a state of, oh my gosh, woe is me, how much does their boss now feed into that, right? And now what are the thoughts their boss is having? Oh my gosh, this gal can't even manage herself out of a brown paper bag,
let alone everyone else.
What I've given them, right? So talk to me about that. How can we use the state management to prepare for what we're going to do the rest of the day?
Oh, massively. Look, it's all, like, I find it's all about your morning. If you start your morning strong, you'll find that the rest of your day will be strong. And even if something happens throughout the rest of your day that gets you, you know, look, things are always going to happen to us. Sometimes you have the most solid morning and then you get to work and all hell breaks loose. But it's just about you being able to, you know, jump in and take hold of that and being able to, you know, maybe give yourself 2 minutes to get back into that state and then, you know, refresh and restart and reprogram yourself. So I would be saying absolutely before any meeting with your team, with your boss, etc., you need to be using these techniques as a way to control your physiology and your psychology to be able to be ready for it. 100%. If imagine being in a managerial state and trying to have a meeting with your team, and then they're walking all over you. You need to be, the one in control. You need to be in control of yourself so that you're able to assign certain things to everybody else and be all over it massively. I would be saying, having a solid morning routine to be able to get yourself into that state. So I know personally, my morning routine consists of exercise, me doing like a priming session or like a meditation, as well as me doing some reading to increase my development, as well as me doing, some mirror talk about self-love and giving myself a bit of a pep talk, as well as doing my incantations and affirmations in front of the mirror. And that is a must every single day. Like, that is non-negotiable, regardless as to whether I've given myself permission to relax at home or whether I'm going into the office and I'm having a solid day of work. They're the things, own your morning, elevate your life. If you are able to have that solidness where you're connecting within, and you're able to be okay with yourself, of course you can project that onto everybody else. And as a leader, especially in a workplace, like, it is your duty, it's your responsibility to make sure that you're in a position where you can support your team. Otherwise, what is a leader? Like, a leader is someone who runs in when everyone else is running out. A leader is someone who does things that other people are too afraid to do. So you need to be able to look after you so that you can be that best leader, to be able to look after your team, other people within your workplace, whoever it is that you're responsible for.